All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to In the Paint, Altitude Sports Radio. I'm your host, Dan Tanner, reacting to Nuggets and Mavs on the second night of a back-to-back for the Nuggets. We're just going to watch along here for the final 4.5 minutes of the fourth quarter as the Mavs just score and make it 109-98. So, very interesting game tonight. The Nuggets, really, for the first 2.5 quarters, were just dominating the Dallas Mavericks, who are the Dallas Mavericks themselves are also dealing with a lot of injuries right now. We saw Cooper Flagg go out of this game in the second quarter. He ends up coming back, and then I believe they ruled him out for the rest of the game. So we're going to get into the game and my thoughts on it after the conclusion of this one. But I will just say the Nuggets had a 23-point lead about midway through the third quarter, and the Mavericks just started getting downhill, getting out in transition. And by the, a minute or so into the fourth, actually cut the lead down to 5. It was 88-83. The Nuggets held a 5-point lead. And then out of the timeout, the Nuggets went on a 10-0 run to get the lead back up to 16. They did that 10-0 run in just 70 seconds, a minute and 10 seconds. And they're just looking to hang on here. These are going to be an interesting final 4 minutes because the Nuggets, like I said, are on the second night of a back-to-back. Typically, teams that are on the second night of a back-to-back, specifically on the road, don't fare very well in fourth quarters in general, and especially at end of games. But they're up 111-98, and they're in good position. But this game is not quite over yet. I know they were shown on the broadcast. A lot of the Mavs fans were already leaving the building, but this thing is not quite over. Aaron Gordon just got a in the air alley-oop sort of lay-in, and that's going to help. The Nuggets lead is back up to 15 with 3:20 to go in the basketball game. So Nuggets are looking really good here for the final 3:05 in this basketball game. Jamal Murray had another great game. I said last night I would be shocked if Aaron Gordon played tonight just because he's been on a minutes restriction and it was the second night of a back-to-back. Well, he played, and I was shocked. So that's good to see. I think that means Aaron Gordon is starting to get closer and closer to 100% with that hamstring. So I view that as a positive. The fact that he was able to go tonight is a really encouraging sign that hamstring is starting to heal up pretty well, because we saw that Adelman was not playing him on the second night of back-to-backs or the first night, but no 2 games in a row in 2 days. And obviously he did that last night and tonight, last night in New Orleans and tonight in Dallas. So good to see. 2:10 to go. It's 113-101, and Peyton Watson just turned it over. Mavs are getting out in transition, and they foul. So this thing is not over. This is going to be a very important final 2-minute stretch here for the Nuggets. This would be a heartbreaker if they gave up this game, because they really, like I said, the first 2.5 quarters, the Nuggets absolutely dominated this game. In fact, there were points during this game where it was almost a little boring just because the Nuggets had such a big lead and the Mavs weren't doing much. But about midway through the third quarter, the Mavs started to make their run, and they just hit their first free throw. So it's 113-102. They can make it a 10-point game here. Still plenty of time for Dallas. All right. So second free throw made for Dallas, 113-103, just under 2 minutes to go. Nuggets have the ball. Jamal Murray's got it. He has been phenomenal again tonight. Murray's kind of playing hero ball. Step back. It's short. A lot of these shots are coming up short. It's a sign that tired legs for the Nuggets. They do have 2 days off after tonight's game before they play another back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So this is this month of January is the roughest stretch of the schedule just as far as how many games they're playing. I believe they play 17 games in the month of January, which is the most out of any month. So, all right, Mavs are going back to the free throw line. That's something that you don't want to do when you have a 10-point lead with a minute 40 to go, is stop the clock and allow the team to score with the clock frozen. And they hit their first free throw to get it down to 9. So one more coming here for the Mavs. They can make this an 8-point game. Second free throw is up and good. Wow. 113-105, minute 40 to go. And wow, the Mavs just foul right on the inbounds. What are they doing? Did that get the Nuggets into the bonus? Oh, they're trying to get them into the bonus so that they can foul and send them to the line when they need to. Okay, I guess. It's only an 8-point game. They still have time to play it straight up. Oh, man. The Nuggets almost turned it over, but Jamal corralled it. Jamal's got it. Man, they're just not moving. They are dead tired. Jamal drives and misses the layup. Oh, my goodness. Oh, he had it. It was too strong. Williams comes down and hits a layup, and the Nuggets are going to call a timeout. Wow, 113-107. 72 seconds to go. This thing is not over, but the Nuggets just have to find a way to grind out this final 72 seconds. They are dead tired. You can tell. Their shots are falling short. They're having trouble keeping the Mavs from running downhill. Really, that's, like I said, that started about midway through the third quarter. So they just got to hang on here. So they'll play the Wizards and the Hornets coming up this weekend. Wizards Saturday, Hornets Sunday. 2 very winnable games. You know, if you remember, everyone, the Washington Wizards beat the Nuggets twice last year. So we'll see if they can get over on the Washington Wizards. Those were the losses that stood out the most to me last year, because they were probably 2 of the worst losses of the season for the Nuggets, especially the one at Ball Arena. Wow, the fast break points. Dallas has 30. The Nuggets have 10. Plus 20 in fast break points for Dallas. The problem for the Mavs is they've been horrible from 3. I mean, just awful. They were 2 for 22 at one point in tonight's game. I'm not sure where it's at right now, but I will check here real quick. So the Mavs from 3 tonight are 5 of 33, 15%. Yeah, that's why the Nuggets are winning this basketball game. The Mavs are 5 of 33, 15% from deep. All right, Nuggets are inbounding. They get it into Aaron Gordon. You got to run this clock as far down as possible. He'll get it in Jamal's hands. Oh, my God. It gets poked away. Jamal corrals it in the backcourt. It was tipped, so no backcourt violation. Murray, open jumper from the free throw line and drills it. That was big. 115-107. Whew. And the Nuggets tie it up. Hardaway on the ground there with Marshall. Jump ball. Nice play there from THJ. Man, that shot from the free throw line by Murray was massive. They really needed that. And then Hardaway pokes it away from, that was Williams. And he got the tie up. If the Nuggets can win this jump ball, man, it's going to make it really difficult for Dallas to get enough possessions to come back. Hardaway's definitely taller than Williams, but all right, here it is. And Dallas wins it. Got bumped around. And they just turned it over. They threw it out of bounds. Wow. Huge break there for the Denver Nuggets. They won the jump ball and threw it out of bounds. Oh my, Jason Kidd looks disgusted. By the way, Jason Kidd made a huge mistake early in this game. We'll get to that in a little bit. All right, so there's 33 seconds to go. What is Dallas doing? They just took like 10 seconds to foul. Wow. All right. That makes no sense. So Aaron Gordon will go to the free throw line here. He's got 21 points tonight. Good game for AG. 8 for 12 from the field, 6 rebounds. Misses the first free throw. If he can make this one here, it'll give the Nuggets a 9-point lead if he can make this second free throw. It's up and just barely good, but he got it. So 116, 107, 33 seconds to go. Oh, man. Just right to the rim. Williams gets the layup. That's all right. She can't give up threes here. And they're going to foul Peyton Watson in the backcourt, and he'll go to the free throw line. You know, I was going to say on the postgame show, I was planning to say this is the first Nuggets game that I can remember in quite some time where it didn't come down to the wire. I was thinking that about 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And sure enough, the Mavs came back and made it a tight game. All right, so Peyton Watson's at the free throw line. Free throw number 1 is up and good. Yeah, they're saying on the broadcast that this team is gassed. I mean, it's obvious. So they just got to hold on here. Peyton makes the second free throw. So back to a 9-point lead, 25.5 seconds to go. I'm okay giving up twos here, even if it's a quick 2. Just don't let them get a 3. They'll take a 3 and miss it. And Watson will get the rebound. Dallas isn't going to foul. And the Nuggets go back-to-back on the road back-to-back, improved to 6-3 without Nikola Jokic. How about that, everybody? Wow. And this thing is over. Another gritty, gutsy win from your Denver Nuggets, everybody. Okay, so thoughts on the game tonight. First, I just want to say Peyton Watson is continuing to play at an extremely high level. He has just been phenomenal this year for the Denver Nuggets. And I was thinking about something. 18 points tonight, 6 for 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. You didn't put up the scoring numbers he has been lately, but 18 points from P-Watt is perfectly fine. Something I was thinking about during this game. When Nikola Jokic and the rest of the starters and Big Val come back, I really hope we don't see Peyton Watson shy away from what he's doing right now. Like his one-on-one off the dribble game has been fantastic during this injury stretch that the Nuggets have been going through. He's developed his handles really nicely. He's gotten much better in the mid-range. He's a way better three-point shooter than even last season, especially those corner threes for Peyton Watson. He's shooting like 50% on those three-point shots, which is fantastic. But I don't want to see, and I know we're still probably a couple weeks away from the return of Nikola Jokic. By the way, we do have an update from Shams from earlier today on Joker that I will play here in just a little bit. But I was just thinking during the game, I hope that the version of Peyton Watson we're seeing right now doesn't disappear when the big dogs come back, specifically Nikola Jokic. I still want to see the Nuggets run their two-man action with Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. It's the most unstoppable offensive duo in the NBA. So obviously they're going to continue that, as they should. But I want to see Peyton Watson continue to be aggressive and continue the things he's doing so well right now. Like I said, the mid-range, finishing at the rim. has been a major area of improvement this year for Peyton Watson. The going to the rim off the dribble when he's in a one-on-one matchup has really elevated this year for Peyton Watson. So I just hope we don't see Peyton Watson sort of revert back to how he played when this team was healthy. Because if they get this version of Peyton Watson for the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs, I don't think anybody can beat this team. I truly mean that. If they get this version of Peyton Watson, and they've got the two-man game rolling with Jokic and Murray, Aaron Gordon's doing his thing, I really think that the Nuggets are going to be insanely difficult to beat in the playoffs. And then you've got, Brucey B and Tim Hardaway coming off the bench. So that was just something I was thinking about tonight. Like, I hope that these guys are in his ears, especially when Joker comes back. Like, hey, man, just keep doing what you've been doing. Now, obviously, the offense is going to change when Joker comes back in, which it should. Like I said, they're not going to shy away from the two-man game between Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, and they shouldn't. But I want to see this version of Peyton Watson when Jokic comes back. I think that's really important, and I think that if we get that, that's what will elevate this team to the next level. And that will be massive come playoff time. So just a thought I had during the game. He's been so good that I just don't want to see this version of Peyton Watson go away. Okay. We'll hear from the head coach, David Adelman. I want to get all your thoughts and go through your comments on the game, but I do want to play for you an update from Shams on ESPN. He had an update on Nikola Jokic. Good news. Good update on the process of the Joker and his return. Here is Shams.
Nikola Jokic, he's been out for a couple of weeks. Usually, Nikola's kind of an Iron Man. When can we expect to see him?
A big development here. Nikola Jokic has resumed on-court workouts for Denver, and he's right on schedule, if not a little bit ahead of schedule, of making his return to the lineup by the end of this month. That's about that 4-week initial early timetable that they had. The Nuggets are optimistic Nikola Jokic will be able to return by that late January mark. He's making great progress, rapid progress. If he is able to make it back by late January, it would also give him a window to be eligible for the postseason awards, MVP, All-NBA team. So progress for Nikola Jokic.
Good news.
All right, there you go. Great news there. Great update there from Shams Charania of ESPN. If you noticed there, he said he's resumed on-court workouts. Now, we had a report a week and a half or so, maybe it was like somewhere around there, an update on Joker from Shams saying he was shooting, like kind of just standing and shooting. So this is a significant update. He's resumed on-court workouts, which I assume means he's starting to run and maybe even play in pickup. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly what that means, but that is a great update there from Shams. He said he's right on track to return, with the estimate they had when he initially went out with the left knee hyperextension, and said he might even be a little bit ahead of schedule on his possible return. So that was great to hear from Shams on Nikola Jokic. Fantastic news. And I cannot believe this team is playing as well as they are without not only Nikola Jokic, but Cam Johnson, Christian Brown, and Jonas Valanciunas as well. And then you have to throw in Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray missing significant time as well. David Adelman needs to be in serious consideration for Coach of the Year for what he is doing right now. And I know I've been saying that over the last couple of games, but this is what he is doing is miraculous. And again, it's not just Nikola Jokic that they're missing, who's the best basketball player on the planet. Everything about this team runs through Nikola Jokic, especially on the offensive end of the floor. I would even make the argument that Nikola Jokic is very important on the defensive end because he is the one conducting and directing traffic. I mean, how many times have we heard Nikola Jokic call out another team's offensive play, like before it happens? And we've heard players say, yeah, he called it out and he was right. So he's obviously more impactful on the offensive end, but he is very important on the defensive end as well. I know he's not the best defender in the NBA, but he is a plus defender. He's never going to win a defensive player of the year or anything like that. But Nikola Jokic, I think, has been he's been underrated as a defender throughout his career. Now, early on in Nikola Jokic's career, he wasn't a great defender. But as he learned the NBA game and got more used to the speed and the pace of this league and what teams are trying to do to the Denver Nuggets on the defensive end of the floor, it's clear that he has become a guy that has figured out how to use his basketball IQ to help to make up for the deficiencies he has with his physical skill sets on the defensive end. So again, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there. Like, yes, obviously he is super important to this team on the offensive end of the floor. I would say he's more important to any team in the NBA as far as the offensive end of the floor goes, but his defensive IQ has been lacking a little bit as well. So great update from Shams there on Nikola Jokic. That was fantastic to see. And it just, the fact that the Nuggets are 6-3 without Nikola Jokic over their last 9 games is unbelievable. They're now 28-13 on the season. I believe they moved into sole possession of the 2 seed in the West because the Spurs were off tonight. So let me just confirm that here real quick as far as the standings go. Yes, that is correct. So the Spurs off tonight. The Nuggets are 28-13 on the season. They've won 3 games in a row. They're 6-4 over their last 10, but like I said, they're 6-3 without Nikola Jokic. That is the number that you should all be thinking about. And they're, as crazy as this is, they're only 6 games back of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, I'm not saying they're going to catch OKC, but if I were to tell you January 14th, 2026, with the way the Thunder started this season and all of the injuries the Nuggets have gone through, that they would be in the 2 seed by themselves and only 6 games back of the Thunder. I mean, that would have been insane to think about just a couple of weeks ago when Nikola Jokic went down. So what they're doing right now is absolutely incredible. And again, I credit David Adelman and the rest of the coaching staff. They are coaching these guys up. Jalen Pickett has stepped up mightily. Tim Hardaway has been just a rock solid 6th man for this team. What they're doing right now is a special stretch in this organization's history. I think we're going to look back on this stretch. If they can continue to win games, I mean, if they, go on a 5-game losing streak, it's not going to feel as significant. But if they can just stay at the level they're at right now, this is going to be a moment in Denver Nuggets history that I think we look back on and say, wow, that was a special run that this team had without the best player on the planet. So that was great to see. And, we'll see if they can keep this going. So one more thing I did want to mention before I get to some of your comments here. Jason Kidd, I don't know what the hell he was doing at the beginning of this game. So literally 2 minutes and 59 seconds to be more specific into this game, Jason Kidd challenges a foul call. There was a blocking call on the Mavs. Jamal Murray was driving to the rim. 2 minutes and 59 seconds into the game, Jason Kidd challenges the call. And I'm sitting here watching it like, really? What the hell? You're challenging this early on that play? Which they lost the challenge, by the way. They didn't even win the challenge. Like, it wasn't some sort of obvious bad call. It just made no sense. And if you remember back to last night in New Orleans, there was an opportunity for the Nuggets to challenge a play in the first half, and that I think they would have won. But Adelman was like, it's too early. We're going to need that challenge later into the game. Close call out of bounds. Remember Peyton Watson on the inbound tipped it out of bounds with a Pelicans player. I don't even remember who it was. I think it was Trey Murphy. and they win the challenge and get possession, and that helped seal that game for the Nuggets down the stretch. So that was just a very weird decision by Jason Kidd in this basketball game. Like, I don't mind if coaches take early timeouts if they're not liking how their team is starting a game. Hell, I was covering a Nuggets game probably 4 or 5 years ago where the Spurs were in town, and Greg Popovich literally called a timeout 8 seconds into the game. I don't know if any of you listening remember that, but literally 8 seconds into the game, the Nuggets get the ball, they score. He didn't like what he saw, called a timeout. That is fine. But the strategy to challenge that early, even if it's a pretty obvious challenge that like you think you're going to win, that just made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. So, hey, I mean, it went the Nuggets' way, and luckily, for Jason Kidd, I guess I would say is that didn't come back to bite the Mavs necessarily, like where they could have challenged a play down the stretch that might have helped them complete the comeback. But it was just a silly decision from Jason Kidd to do that. And I think that a lot of coaches around the league who see that are going to say, you know what, it's just not worth challenging plays that early in basketball games. You've got to save that challenge for later in games. Now, I'm sure there will be exceptions to that. If there is just a blatantly bad call and you are basically certain you're going to win a challenge and it's in the first quarter, I mean, okay, I guess. But guess what? NBA refs, I truly think that they do everything in their power in the league to a degree to not overturn calls on a challenge. Well, why do I say that? Because then it's the refs admitting they made a mistake. It's the same thing in the NFL or in the NHL. Now, if it's just obvious, then they have to overturn it. Okay, and they will. But I really do believe like it's so hard to win challenges in the NBA because that is the refs admitting they made a mistake. So, yeah, just a really weird decision there from Jason Kidd. Also, I did want to go back. So if you remember the Nuggets' last game in Dallas, does it have the date on this game? Oh, it was December 23rd. So 2 days before Christmas. The Nuggets were in Dallas, and they were down big in this game. In fact, Dallas won that first quarter 41-27. Remember, this is on December 23rd, the last time the Nuggets were in Dallas to play the Mavs before tonight's game. Wow, I'm just looking at this starting lineup. Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Jokic, Murray, and Peyton Watson. Val, Hardaway. Those were simpler times, folks. But my point is, in this game, the Nuggets actually did mount a pretty good comeback effort and ended up losing 131-130. But look at this. The Mavs also had Anthony Davis in that game. But the job they did on Cooper Flagg tonight, now I know he got injured, tried to come back and then had to go back out again. But even before he got injured, I thought the Nuggets did a much better job defensively in a much better job of containing Cooper Flagg in this basketball game. So in the game on December 23rd, Cooper Flagg in 40 minutes had 33 points on 14 of 21 shooting and 4 of 6 from 3. He was a plus 10 in that game. And again, I know he went out with injury tonight. He only played 15 minutes, but in those 15 minutes, just 6 points on 3 of 9 shooting from the field and 0 of 3 from beyond the arc. So I thought the Nuggets did a much better job on Cooper Flagg tonight. He's averaging 19 points as a rookie, which is incredible. He's going to be a great player if he's not one already. So I just thought that was something I was thinking about during the game as well. They just did a much better job of containing Cooper Flagg in this game, and that is one of the things that helped the Nuggets win this game. Well, also the fact that the Mavs shot 5 of 34 from 3 tonight was another big reason that the Nuggets were able to win this game. I mean, the Mavs dominated transition and the paint tonight. In fact, let me pull up the points in the paint here. So, well, fast break points, the Mavs outscored the Nuggets 30-10. So the Mavericks were plus 20 in fast break points. Let's see, what was the points in the paint? Dallas outscored the Nuggets 66-46 in the paint. So that was a plus 20. And their largest lead of the night was 3 points for the Dallas Mavericks. The largest lead for the Nuggets was 23 in the third quarter, and then the Mavs mounted a comeback effort, but it obviously fell short because the Nuggets end up winning the game by 9 points. All right, Jamal Murray was tremendous tonight, considering the circumstances. In fact, Vic Lombardi tweeted out before the game that he really was like close to a game time decision because he's still sick. Vic said he's still not feeling great. And for whatever weird reason, Vic was reporting that like when Jamal is sick or getting over a sickness, he just tends to go off in games that he plays where he's like questionable up until they have to decide whether he's in or out for that game. The first quarter, he had 14 points. He was tremendous in that first quarter. Then the second quarter rolls around. I thought Dallas did a good job of switching up their coverages on Jamal. They put much more of an emphasis on doubling him and trying to get the basketball out of his hands. But this is where I think Jamal Murray has upped his game even from a couple of years ago. What I'm loving the most from Jamal Murray this season is, yes, he's having a career year. He's an all-star caliber player. He deserves to play in the all-star game. But with that being said, what I love most about what Jamal's doing this year, it's not the scoring, it's not the three-point shooting, it's his ability to switch from scorer to facilitator on a dime. And that's what we saw take place in the second quarter. And it's solely based on the coverages he's getting, the looks he's getting, and how teams are playing Jamal Murray. And I think that's something that over the years he's picked up from Nikola Jokic. That's what makes Nikola Jokic so damn special, is his ability to recognize when to pass the ball, when to be a facilitator, or when he needs to be a scorer. And I think we're starting to see Jamal Murray pick up on that and excel in doing that. So that was great to see as well. All right, let me just check here real quick. I don't believe Adelman's talked yet. I'm going to try and get Adelman. Oh, he's actually talking right now. So let me just back this up here a little bit, and then we will hear from the Nuggets head coach, David Adelman, who, like I said, deserves to be in the running for coach of the year with what he's doing. So let's go ahead and hear from the Nuggets head coach.
Kept putting their head down and driving, and obviously it was working. So we were not getting back and walling up well enough. Our two main ball handlers as of right now, with Peyton and Jamal both having foul trouble, I thought it stunted our offense. We didn't do a good job getting behind screens to create the roll and pass stuff that we got in the first half. But this group's been like that all year. We've lost some games like that where we've played really well, and there's no reaction to it. There's just how do we get better from it. This would be the same thing after a win. We can be better in the fourth quarter. But I thought the guys that came back in they balanced that out offensively. They made some big shots. There's so many ways to win and lose NBA games, and we found a way to win that one with a really appropriate start that we didn't have here last time. And, just held on, in the fourth quarter. But in the end, you score more points, you move on with a win.
What is Jamal Murray doing? What is it refined in this game that you've seen? I mean, every player develops, but what's different now?
I don't know. I think he's just so clean with his decision making right now. I mean, all the offense that was created in the first half, unfortunately,
what I was
he only
talking
had 3
about.
assists and only 5 for the game. But the amount of open shots he created was incredible. And I think he's just finding that scoring can come to him easily, and sometimes easier when you just continuously make the right play. You stretch their defense out, and now they have to react to you. And they started to switch 1 through 5 as opposed to being up with him, which was all the creation. And then the 1 through 5 allowed him now to go to work offensively, because we know how good he is as an isolation player. So 33 and 5 again. He's having a tremendous season, and he's doing it in such a leadership way and in big moments. He's been a special player forever, just in case anybody didn't realize that. And he still is. So really good night from him.
Did you feel like the fatigues kind of set in the last 5-6 minutes when they made their run, or is that just good play by them?
I think we're on a back-to-back. I mean, I think guys played a lot of minutes. I thought the group that Jason Kidd put in was really smart. They just got downhill. They played small. And so you're looking for anything when you're behind, and they found something there. Caleb Martin was great. Brandon Williams was really good. And, we were up against a little bit defensively with how small we are. We were not walling up at the rim well enough. But there's always fatigue in these games. And, I'm playing Jamal a lot of minutes. Tim's playing, way beyond the minutes we thought we would play him. But those guys just kept fighting, and they just keep fighting, trying to find a way to win games. We're doing that right now. I don't care if it's ugly or we score 130. It doesn't matter. We're just trying to find whatever, the equation is that night. Just find a way. Play with the way the game demands you to play to continuously win. And we've done that so far.
Picture for you guys to be 6-3 since Nikola got hurt, back into second place alone in the West at the halfway point of the season. How do you evaluate that first half of the season?
Yeah, it's been a resilient group. I've said this before, and I'm not like a Disney movie here, but these guys like each other and they like playing basketball together. That's the great feeling to have a bunch of guys and make a lot of money to play this sport with all the media that's involved in it and the pressure from the outside. This group just feels like shoot-arounds, walkthroughs, when we eat together, the bus, the plane, and obviously when we play games, there's just a real connection with this group. And they cheer for each other. They're happy when somebody else has a night, when it's not their night. And that's not something you get in the NBA every year. So I think that's why we withstood all these injuries, with Jamal and Aaron and Nikola and Cam and CB and Valanciunas, all these guys that have been out. The guys that have stepped in have found that their expectation of themselves was the same as the group that we had. They want to win games. They want to be part of this, this year's conversation of teams that are in the mix, and they're on this team. And so they feel like that's their responsibility, and that's how they're playing.
You just completed the official halfway point of the season, 41 games. Does it feel that way?
Yeah. It's just been such a crazy 41, just the wildness of when things happened and all that. But, successful 41 games, but it's so much, more to go and so much more to accomplish. And I keep saying this, it's just day to day. You just try to accomplish how good you can get the day of. Stay within that moment, stay present. And, you're going to have ups and downs throughout. But I think if you can do that, you'll maintain the right spirit and you'll play the right way. And so far we've been doing that. And it's a lot of different ways throughout this year. We've played a lot of different styles, but the guys obviously in that room can do that. So I'm really proud of them.
Learn about your team.
All right. Great stuff there from head coach David Adelman as the Nuggets get the 118-109 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, couple things there that coach said. First of all, talking about Jamal Murray, yeah, he was asked, where has he grown the most this year? And I don't want to put too much into this because Jamal has always he's always been a pretty good decision maker, but that's kind of what I was just talking about. David Adelman just said it right there. Where he's grown the most is his decision making, and that's what I was talking about just a couple of minutes ago. Where I think Jamal has grown the most is his ability to put that in simpler terms. His ability to know when he needs to score versus when he needs to be a facilitator. And again, the perfect example of that was tonight. First quarter, Jamal scores 14 points. The way the Mavericks were playing the Nuggets, Jamal understood that he needed to go score the rock. And that's what he was able to do. Well, when he came back in the second quarter, the Mavericks switched up how they were playing defensively, specifically with Jamal Murray. They were sending more double teams. They were trying more full court pressure. And Jamal Murray recognized that very quickly and started facilitating the basketball, hitting the open man. Again, this is what makes Nikola Jokic so freaking good, is he is the best player in the world at being able to recognize when he needs to score versus when he needs to facilitate. And, I've got to imagine all the years and all the games and all the practices that Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray have played in together, that it not only rubs off on Jamal, but it rubs off on the rest of the team, but specifically with Jamal, because him and Jokic are the two primary ball handlers and the two primary guys that are running the Nuggets offense. So that is, to me, is where Jamal has truly taken that next step in his evolution as a basketball player, is his ability to facilitate, recognize when he needs to score versus when he needs to facilitate. So that was great to hear David Adelman sort of touch on that there. The second thing I wanted to touch on with coach's comments there. And, I've talked about this on and sporadically over the years. I will tell you this. I've been in visiting NBA locker rooms at Ball Arena, but I'm not in, I'm not in other teams' locker rooms around the NBA. But I have been in the Nuggets locker room covering this team for damn near a decade now. And I've always said, I don't know what the comparison is to other teams, but what I can tell you is I have noticed over the years, and this has been a consistent thing in the Jokic Murray era, this team is very close. They like each other. You just heard Adelman say it there. That's been my observations, not just this season, but over the years. They're very close-knit. They like each other. They have really good chemistry. They're always joking around in the locker room, having fun with each other. So I think that's important, especially during a time like this. Like, these guys are in this together, and they're having each other's back. So I just think that's important to bring up right now, because I don't know if the Nuggets are able to do what they're doing if that wasn't the case, if these guys weren't as close as they are on and off the court. Look at the interview Vic did last night with Michael Porter Jr. So Michael, if you missed it, was at the Nuggets Pelicans game last night because the Nets played in New Orleans tonight. And the way that Michael was talking about his former teammates, you could tell he still absolutely freaking loves those guys. And he said, we're going to be close friends for the rest of our lives. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. This team is very, very close. And it's just, I think that's what's really helping them get through this and survive this stretch without some of their star players, most notably Nikola Jokic. So I just think that is important to point out. All right, let's get to some of your comments here before we get out of here. This one just coming in from Dante. Yeah, I talked about this earlier. Nuggets passed the Spurs tonight in the standings. The Spurs were idle, so the Nuggets have the sole possession of the 2 seed. I mean, how crazy is that? They are now 9 games in to no Nikola Jokic. And by the way, all of the other guys that have missed so many games this year, Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, Cam Johnson, the list goes on. And the fact that they're in sole possession at the exact halfway point of the season, tonight was game 41, in the 2 seed is incredible. And that's why I have been campaigning for David Adelman to be in the conversation and probably should be the leader of the pack for Coach of the Year. I mean, we're talking about a guy, let's not forget, and I know this is a little bit of a different situation with Coach Adelman because he's been on the staff. He was on Malone's staff for 8 years. So it's kind of hard to call him like a first-time head coach, which he is. But the fact that it's not like he had to go to a brand new team, get to know all of the new players, get to know the new city, the new organization. So David did have that advantage coming into this season. Okay. There's no doubt about that. In fact, even when Malone was here over the last couple of years, during COVID or when Malone missed a game for his daughter's volleyball championship, David, every single time Malone got kicked out of a game or had to miss a game for whatever reason, it was David Adelman being the interim head coach while Malone was out. So the transition for David Adelman, honestly, was probably one of the easiest transitions for a first-time head coach in NBA history. The fact that he was on the staff for so long, I guess you could throw in Eric Spoelstra with the Heat, but look at the success he's had. But the job he's done during this stretch of injuries has just been outstanding. And you heard David there. I believe Vic asked him, does it feel like we're at the exact halfway point of the season? Does it feel like it's been 41 games? And honestly, I was expecting Adelman to be like, yeah, not really. Season flies by. No. He's like, oh yeah, it feels like 41 games. Like, this has been a grind. And their schedule has not been easy this year, just with the travel they've had, the amount of home game, road game, back and forth. He has done a tremendous job for this team this year. And I tell you what, the narrative for a lot of coaches, which I think can be true, and I actually kind of believe this myself, but like Phil Jackson is regarded as one of the best coaches in NBA history. And he should be. Greg Popovich, regarded as one of the best head coaches in NBA history. And he should be. But the one thing I'll say about that is, well, and a lot of people say this, it's pretty hard to be a great head coach in any sport without great players. Okay, Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan with the Bulls and all those great teams and great players, and then he had Kobe and Shaq and all the great players with the Lakers. And Greg Popovich had Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Robert Horry, with great players. And I've heard a lot of people say that about Michael Malone. Well, yeah, he did win an NBA championship, and I give him all the credit in the world for that. But some detractors would say, well, I could go coach Nikola Jokic to an NBA Finals. No, you couldn't, by the way. It's not that easy. But my point here is this stretch right now is like, we're going to see just how good of a coach David Adelman is during this stretch. And the fact that they're 6-3 in their 9 games without their last 9 without Nikola Jokic just shows you how damn good of a coach he is. And again, it's not just Nikola Jokic. They're missing a ton of guys, 3 starters and their backup center. They just got Aaron Gordon back a week or two ago, who missed 20 plus games. Jamal Murray's been in and out of the lineup. So the job he's done, it has been truly special. So I just wanted to mention that this is where coaches really earn their paycheck, or during stretches like these. And David Adelman, boy, in my estimation, he has passed this with flying colors. Okay, all right, let's get this comment in here from Kev. Let's see, Kevin, I've seen you in the chat saying you're not super high on Deron Holmes. Well, you're right there with D-Mac. He's not high on him either. He did get into the game tonight. That was interesting to see. He hadn't played over the last couple of games. Now, look, you're free to have whatever opinion you want on Deron Holmes. I mean, go for it. Doesn't bother me a lick. All my point has been, because D-Mac and I have gone back and forth about whether we like Deron Holmes or not. And D-Max basically said, it's over. He doesn't have it. He's not the guy. And I'm like, my point is, dude, just give him some time. That's all I'm asking. Like, I don't know why we have to rush to judgment on players so damn quick. If in a year when if he starts to play more and more and more, and by the end of next season, we've seen him play enough to know he is or isn't a legitimate option or weapon on this team, that's fine. But the kid's played in like 5 games. Just my whole point is, like, it's just way too early to make any sort of declarative statement on whether or not Deron Holmes can play in this league and really can help this team get to their title goals. I just don't know yet. I'll say this, there's been flashes. I like a big that can step out and knock down a 3. We saw him do that early in the game. I mean, there's certain things that I've liked, that I've seen. He's ripping up the G League, and I don't want to hear, well, it's the G League. Well, Jalen Pickett was like the G League Player of the Year. Look at what he's done over the last couple of weeks, or a couple of months, or really just this season. I mean, this team right now is full of guys that were in the G League. And imagine giving up on Peyton Watson. Not Peyton Watson. Jalen Pickett earlier on. And look what he's doing right now. So my whole point is, I don't know if he's going to be a legitimate player for the Nuggets or not. I just do not know. But yeah, Kenneth makes a great point. He's 23 years old. Like, just give him some time. That's all I'm saying with Deron Holmes. The good news for the Nuggets is, even right now, with how many injuries they've had, I mean, it does help that Aaron Gordon's back. But, like, they really don't need him this year. Not all that much. Maybe in a certain scenario where, like, the Nuggets have been going through recently, where they are just so injured, they just need bodies to throw out on the floor. I mean, okay. But if this team is even relatively healthy, they're just not going to need Deron Holmes this year. So give them time. I'd be fine if they wanted to send him back down to the G League just to keep playing basketball games. Well, fine with me. In fact, I'd probably prefer that if he's not going to play a lot when he's up with the big club. Now, if he's going to get some minutes up here, I would like him to get more NBA experience. I prefer that. But if he's hardly going to play, I mean, what's the point? So my point on Deron Holmes is I just don't know yet. I've liked flashes that I've seen, but you can tell he just doesn't – he hasn't figured out how to play in the NBA quite yet, which is okay. Some guys, it just takes a while. But in fact, most guys, it takes a while. I mean, look at Zeke Naji. I'm not the biggest Zeke Naji fan in the world, but how many times have, myself included, by the way, okay, I'm not just trying to call out every Nuggets fan, I've done this too, said that Zeke Naji can't play. He's been pretty freaking important over this injury stretch, has he not? No, he hasn't been a huge factor in every single one of these games, but there's been the game in Philly and Boston specifically, like, they don't win those games without Zeke Naji's contributions. I mean, he's definitely improved. I'm not saying he's going to be like a starting level player in the NBA, but he has improved over the course of his young career. So just be patient with Deron Holmes. That's all I'm saying. All right. A couple more of your comments here. Yeah, Kenneth says we've played a ton of back-to-backs this year. You know what? I was looking at the Nuggets schedule. Let me pull this up because they actually have like quite a bit of back-to-backs coming up here. And you're right. They've already played a lot, it feels like. So for the rest of the month of January, they have a back-to-back coming up this Saturday and Sunday. And they're off Monday. They play Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday. And then next Thursday, Friday, the 22nd and 23rd, another back-to-back. Then they have a back-to-back on January 29th and 30th. And then they have another back-to-back on February 3rd and 4th. So what's that? 4 back-to-backs over the next less than a month, 3 weeks. They have 4 back-to-backs. Yeah, this is just it's a brutal schedule. Now, I don't know how the Nuggets back-to-backs compare to other teams, but it just you're right. It has seemed like it has just been a lot of back-to-backs this year for the Denver Nuggets. I'm just going through some of the comments here and just seeing if there's anything else I want to hit. Yeah, Chris says officially halfway through the season. Yeah, we've talked about that. I mean, it is amazing that the Nuggets are where they are at the exact halfway point of the season, sitting at 28-13. They're 17-7 on the road. That is might be the most shocking thing of the season, because I've talked about this many times in the past, but the Nuggets, and Nuggets fans, you all know this, they have been historically a dominant home team, and historically they've been a pretty crappy road team. Now, they've had certain years here and there where they're decent on the road, but the fact that they're better on the road this year than they are at home. They're 17-7 away from Ball Arena, and they're 11-6 at home. That is unbelievable. And again, George Karl would always say, dominate at home, go 500 on the road, you'll be a top 4 seed. Pretty fun to dominate on the road too. So what a win for the Nuggets tonight. Again, they'll have the next 2 days off, thank God, because with the way this team was gassed at the end of this game, they need it. So that was great to see them be able to pull out the win tonight. We're at the exact halfway point of the season, and the Nuggets did pass the idle Spurs tonight and sit alone in the 2 seed in the Western Conference. They've won 3 games in a row. They're 6-3 without Nikola Jokic, and just a fantastic performance tonight again from the shorthanded Nuggets. All right, that's going to do it for the post-game show, everybody. I'll be back on Saturday. So Saturday, it's going to be a wild day for me and a lot of us at the radio station. I'm covering the Broncos game. I will be at Empower Field at Mile High covering Broncos Bills. I'll be in the locker room getting sound. I'm going to be doing hits with our pregame show. So make sure to tune in to Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. We'll be doing a pregame show all morning leading up to Broncos and Bills. I'm going to be walking around the stadium, getting fans' thoughts on the game. And then as soon as I'm done with my duties at the Broncos game, I'm going straight to Ball Arena to cover the Nuggets game that night. So we're going to be doing it's going to be a really busy day at the radio station. I'll be going to Ball Arena Saturday evening for Nuggets and Wizards. And looking forward to it. So go Nugs, go Broncos. We're in a great time of the sports year. So it's great to see. Okay. One quick thing here real quick from Kenneth. What is the status of Christian Brown? All I've heard so far with Christian is that he is back in Denver rehabbing his ankle. I mean, that's really all the information we have right now. In fact, Scott Hastings today on our show was asked, DMAC asked him kind of that same question, and it's a fair question. DMAC basically said, is it a day-to-day thing, game-to-game thing with Christian, or is this more of a week-to-week thing? And Scott just said he just doesn't know. If he had to guess, it's probably leaning more to a week-to-week thing. Something with his ligaments in his ankles, which was not great to hear. So we're just kind of in wait and see mode with Christian Brown, and hopefully they can get him back and healthy and get the old CB that we know and love. But with the way the Nuggets are playing right now, they need him. I'm not saying they don't need Christian Brown, but with how they've been surviving this right now, you heard the update from Shams. They're in position to start getting some of the cavalry back over the next couple of weeks. So they just got to survive this stretch for a couple more weeks, and then hopefully the cavalry will return for the Nuggets. All right, everybody, really appreciate you tuning in to the show tonight. What a win for the Nuggets. Second seed in the West. We're at the exact halfway point of the season, and I'll be back coming up on Saturday to react to Nuggets and Wizards. We will see you then.